Hey friends, welcome to Sabbath School Daily, where we've been studying from this lesson right here, Ephesians. This week we've studied from lesson number 5, which has the title Horizontal Atonement, the Cross and the Church. And today is Final Thought Friday, where we just come together, sum up the lesson, and prepare for next week's lesson, which starts tomorrow. Now, today's lesson is really a preamble. It's, in its own words, it's a preamble that gives you some context into the questions that are being asked at the bottom of the page. So I would urge you to read through this lesson, read through today's lesson, and really go through the questions. That will really give you a lot to think about. But basically what the apostle does is, first of all, he provides an analysis, right? What the author does is he provides an analysis of two different points. The first one is the first major portion of Ephesians chapter 2, where the apostle, he explains that there is this big division, this big divide between the Jews and the Gentiles, and that was obvious to them, but for us, we do need to get into the mindset of what's going on, right? But he brings to the forefront this big divide between the Gentiles and the Jews, and how in Christ that big division is fixed. It's connected, right? There's this shredded relationship with God. Through Jesus, that relationship is connected, it's reconnected, it's fixed. And then the horizontal relationship with each other that also had been broken because of sin, it's also connected, it's also fixed. They're also brought together in Jesus Christ. So that's the first major point to take, is that in Christ, horizontal relationships, they're mended, they are fixed. If there is a severed connection that humans have with each other, Jesus Christ is the only way. He is the peace. He is the shalom of God that reconnects human beings. The second point that the author makes is it's this compounding aspect of the first one, which is not only are the Jews and the Gentiles, that's just a demonstrative. Not only are the Jews and the Gentiles reconnected, but everything, the whole universe that has been dislodged because of sin, because of this nightmare that we've been going through, all of it comes together in Jesus Christ. So because the Jews and the Gentiles, they were able to be reconnected, they were brought together by Jesus Christ, that goes to show that the rest of the universe is also being reconnected. Everything that was dislodged because of what sin did is now coming together. And this is where I think that in the words of our second lesson, this is God's great, his ultimate Christ-centered plan to bring all things under Jesus Christ. That is precisely what Ephesians chapter 3 verse 10. So we're still going to get there in the future, but that's where we find the ultimate explanation of this reality taking place. So Ephesians 3 verse 10, this is what it says. So that through the church, the manifold wisdom of God. And so the author, he explains that a little bit more. He says, in creating the church out of both Jews and Gentiles, and then, so the verse continues, might now be made known to the rulers and authorities in heavenly places. So that is what God is proving, his manifold wisdom of uniting the church. Here we find the Jews and the Gentiles, but the ultimate plan is the whole universe. It's everyone. It's the whole world, and it's bringing everything back to what it was meant to be. The lesson then finishes, through actualizing the unity Christ won on the cross, believers are to signal that God's ultimate plan to unite all things in Christ is underway. God isn't losing time. God isn't losing here. He's doing precisely what he set out to do. Their reconciled relationships signal God's plan for a universe unified in Christ. So it is appropriate to look to Ephesians 2, 11 through 22, set in the context of Ephesians as a whole for biblical principles concerning a topic of importance today: relationships among people, groups, or races. God unifies everyone. Jesus Christ is the peace. He is the ultimate converging point. He is the ultimate catalyst to bring peace to a broken and chaotic world and planet. So I hope that that's what you get out of today's lesson. There's a lot more here. So again, study this, right? Don't depend just on these videos. And honestly, friends, don't depend on anyone else. Don't relegate your study of the Bible. Don't relegate your knowledge of God, your relationship to God, to a pastor, to a channel, to a church. No, these are good instruments, but you should do your own work, do your own diligence, study the word, meditate in prayer, know the Lord, and use these instruments to maybe add a little bit more flavor to your daily study. But definitely study the Word for yourself. Never relegate your relationship to Christ to someone else. Not to me, not to another pastor or teacher. It is you and Him. Please remember to like, to share, and to subscribe to our videos. And I await you here again tomorrow for another study at Sabbath School Daily.